All lies. 65 years after John F. Kennedy's death, more Camelot, more of the same myth-making that frankly has doomed this poor family and turned them into things and objects and not just an American family. The tragedy this family has endured, unspeakable, but so much of it, and I mean so much of it, totally avoidable. And this new series that millions of people are watching, Love Story, on Hulu, about JFK Jr. and Carolyn Bessette, who died in a plane crash 27 years ago this summer, has once again abandoned what really happened that night for more myth-making. The series makes a tragic plane crash that was totally avoidable look romantic. The facts of that night: John F. Kennedy Jr. should not have been flying. Not only was he not certified legally for flying at night, but he was also not certified to fly using just his instruments. But on July 16, 1999, at 8:38 p.m., he took off anyway, with his wife and her sister on board his small Piper Saratoga airplane from an airport in New Jersey, and that was the last time he was seen alive. Our next guest is the first person to see him after that. Chief Navy diver Joshua Benjamins is with us. Joshua, it's nice to have you on. I know that you were one of the divers who recovered the remains of John F. Kennedy Jr., Carolyn Bessette, and Lauren Bessette. This show romanticized everything, even the plane crash. Was there anything romantic about what you found at the bottom of the ocean?
No, absolutely not. The craziest thing was that this man, he was a beautiful man. He had a beautiful wife. He had a beautiful last name, a legacy. And what we found down there was complete opposite of that. It was tragic. It was distorted. It was chopped up into pieces. And there was just nothing that could explain how it ended so gruesomely.
What was the condition of his body? Was his body fully intact? Because there was no public autopsy, so people never heard about any of this.
Correct. Yeah, that's a mystery to us too, why that was never made public. But what we saw directly from the grave site basically was John Jr.'s upper half, torso and head, dismembered or separated from his lower half. So the lower extremities, legs, were completely in two. The legs themselves were never recovered. Only his upper half was recovered. The two bodies in the back seat, which were the females, those two full bodies were recovered, and all three bodies placed into body bags underwater for the later recovery to pull up and have Senator Ted Kennedy escort them into that autopsy.
And that's where the documentation disappeared
yes.
As soon as Ted Kennedy got involved. I read that you found a piece of blonde scalp in the aircraft fuselage. What did you do with that, and who do you think that belonged to? Did that belong to Carolyn Bessette?
Yes, so the hair itself was blonde, so we do assume it went to Carolyn. The decision to let it go after we found it was while we were still diving, doing the recovery. The USS Briscoe was doing a burial at sea, and we heard it, we saw it, we knew the bodies had been cremated by then. So when that piece of substantial size scalp was found, it was just a quick decision to let it go to rest and let it go out to sea, as the ashes did also. Was
her head detached from her body?
No, both heads of the female passengers were still attached.
And John Kennedy Jr.'s was detached? Or?
Yes. Nope, it was attached. And we saw a live feed video of the ROV that swam down, and you could see his head and upper torso pressed against the cockpit when we first saw it on video.
So they hit that ocean like slamming into concrete. I think the NTSB confirmed like at 120 miles an hour.
Yes.
Question, were you told to be quiet about this after this happened?
So that night we pulled into Rhode Island, the base there in Newport, Rhode Island, and it was covered with news cameras filming down onto our ship. Some of these pictures you see of us moving the wreckage onto a flatbed truck for the NTSB to take back to this hangar that we see here to do their investigation. There was news cameras everywhere. We were allowed to leave the ship that night and go into town of Newport, Rhode Island. Yeah. And it was kind of brief, but nothing officially written down saying, hey, just be careful who you talk to tonight. there's probably gonna be a lot of press sitting at the restaurants, at the bars,
asking you questions.
Hoping to sit down next to one of you guys and just kind of get the.
Is it normal? Sorry, Chief. Is it normal? So you were down there 100 feet down for like more than a week. Is that normal?
We decided just to keep diving until we found most of the big significant parts where the NTSB could do a very thorough investigation.
Yeah. And to
but
keep souvenir hunters out of there.
That was a little bit of the rumor that when we got up there initially, there was already, I believe, 9 different agencies or 9 different other divers searching for this wreckage.
Yeah.
So that was a little bit of rumor that they didn't want a big piece of this airplane pushed up in a bar somewhere, you know.
Right. And have you watched this series, by the way?
I have not. I've only seen clips of it. So, yes, what's on social media, the kind of highlights of it I've seen.
Joshua Benjamins, appreciate you being with us. Gruesome, but I think it needed to be brought to light what that looked like, because the series has made it all seem romantic, and what you just described is tragic, certainly not romantic. Joshua Benjamins, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.